Hi, today I'm going to do a really easy festival or summer party makeup look. Now, festivals and summer parties tend to go on for a long time, so you don't tend to be touching up your makeup, and very often you'll just leave your makeup on all night. So with that in mind, I'm going to create a very long-lasting makeup. The kind of makeup that actually gets better with time, and if you do end up sleeping in it, it's still going to look really great the next day. I have a beautiful model today. Her name is Anna, so I hope you like the look. I'm going to start by using a primer. This is the Chantecaille one, which is SPF 50, and has a really lovely thin texture. I really like it. And also it doesn't leave a ghostly white layer on the skin. So for base, you obviously don't want to use a lot of heavy product. And if you've got fairly good skin, I would probably just use a concealer and just cover redness and spots and things. Or you can use a BB or CC cream, which is also great because it's very protective. So this is just taking down the redness. You don't necessarily have to use this all over your face, so just use it wherever you need it. When you've got freckles, the temptation is to go either too dark or too light, I think. What you really need to do is to strike a balance. You don't want it to look too ashy on top of the freckles, so it can't be too light, but also you don't want to match up to the freckles because then you'll end up with a pale looking neck and body. So you really need to split the difference. Just taking it a fraction warmer than the skin underneath, but just enough to blend in with the skin and keep it looking really natural. I get a lot of people asking me, how can I cover my freckles? I personally love freckles, so I never understand why people ask that question. Because you have to apply a lot of foundation really to get rid of freckles completely. We sometimes do it in photo shoots and things, but I think in reality, so much better just to really embellish your skin, let the freckles shine through and just show the natural beauty. For me, that's just far more attractive than a thick layer of foundation. If you do want to add concealer or use it instead, just use it wherever you would use a base. It's a really handy thing to have a concealer palette with you anyway, because you can touch up throughout the day if you just want to cover a little blemish or a little bit of redness, and also it's really good if you just want to add a little bit more in the evening. And obviously great for under eyes as well. This is a very, very minimal look on the skin. Just go as minimal as you possibly can. Obviously, if you've got spots and things you want to cover, then that's fine. Just go back in with your concealer. Before we start eyes, I'm just going to put on some eye primer all over the lids, and then take a little bit underneath as well, just to really smooth in the concealer there, and to set that area a little bit more, and it'll also help with any makeup that I apply on top. Long-lasting pencils are a really great way to do your makeup for festivals. I'm going to use a couple of these Rimmel ones today. Starting with this shimmery brown shade. So beginning underneath the eye, I'm going to start to buff the colour on, but just slightly back away from the lower lash line, and then buffing it in to create a soft shadow. Next I'm going to use the lightest pencil. This is a really shimmery beigey colour. I'm going to put that all over the lid and pat it into place using fingers. Next I'm going to use some eyeliner, working this away all along the roots of the lashes. This is a really soft pencil, but it's also really long lasting. So it's a good one to smudge in. So I'm just starting to really smudge it in and work it into the lashes. You don't want it to look perfect. This needs to look kind of lived in, like you've already had it on for a while, so it has that kind of cool feel to it. It's really important that there shouldn't be any really precise lines, because it's going to turn into a very high maintenance looking makeup otherwise. I'm going to introduce a little bit of this black pencil just close to the lashes underneath. So I'm just building on top of the brown shading that I did there earlier on. So you can see that the eye is starting to look really big and open. Obviously for a festival, it's sensible to use a waterproof mascara. So I'm going to start with the lower lashes. I'm going to make them quite lashy, so I'm going to start by zigzagging horizontally. Really working it into the roots of the lashes, so zigzagging to build up colour. Then I'm going to use just the tip. This I'm going to use to almost bring some of the lashes together to give it a more slightly 60s vibe. And then just keep building up. You give a little bit of a curl on the top lashes. And then apply the same mascara all along, doing it the same way, beginning with lots of zigzagging to start with and adding plenty of colour. And then again, just using the tip of the mascara to do the same thing as we did underneath. Just bringing them together and giving them a little bit more drama. So to finish off, I'm going to take two of the pencils, the brown and the black, and just brush over them with a shading brush to pick up a little bit of colour. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shading there along the socket line. It doesn't have to be all the way across. It's just for effect. It will give a little bit more dimension, and again, your eyes will look even bigger. And then underneath, the same thing, just smudging out a little bit more, particularly in the centre. Brows are going to stay natural, so I'm just going to brush them through. In keeping with this lovely, minimal, healthy, natural skin vibe we've got going on, I'm going to use this peachy blusher. This is just going to give a really beautiful, dewy, warm, peachy glow to the skin. I'm going to use exactly the same colour as a stain on the lips. And then the really ideal thing to have with you for a festival is a tinted lip balm, because they're so portable. Just have them in your pocket. Whenever your lips are feeling dry, you can just reapply them. To finish off, I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter. I'm going to use a glitter liner simply because they're much more long lasting, they're easier to use, pots of glitter go everywhere, and this one is in a gel base, so it's not going to go all over you and all over your clothes. So I'm just going to apply a little bit to the back of my hand, and then pop a little bit onto the centre of the eyelid, and then along the top of the cheekbones. I don't think this is showing up very well actually on camera, but it does look really beautiful in daylight. And as a final touch, just going to put a little bit of that glitter in the corner of the eyes and pat with fingers. So that's the finished look. A really healthy, beautiful, natural glowy skin with defined eyes which are going to stay put. You could sleep in this makeup and it's going to look probably even better the next day. A little bit of a nod to the 60s, but definitely a really beautifying, gorgeous, natural, healthy makeup.